Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan, coming up in the next 30 minutes. India expresses deep concern over Gaza situation, calls for immediate release of all hostages and ensure continuous supply of humanitarian aid. India's External Affairs Minister calls for macro business strategy at Raisina Dialogue, likens tariff deployment to weaponization. And Russia and Ukraine both report air attacks after Putin-Trump call. Zelenskyy to speak with US President Trump on Wednesday, says US should monitor ceasefire. So India on Wednesday expressed deep concern over the situation in Gaza a day after Israel launched fresh airstrikes across the Gaza Strip. In a statement released by India's Ministry of External Affairs, New Delhi called for the urgent need for the release of all hostages and the continuous supply of humanitarian aid to the region. The MEA also reiterated its call for sustained assistance to the people of Gaza amid the ongoing crisis. Meanwhile, Hamas on Wednesday said that it remained open to negotiations while calling for pressure on Israel for implementing a truce. Though Hamas is open to talks on getting the ceasefire back on track, it says will not renegotiate the agreement that took effect on January 19. Israel and Hamas have disagreed over how to proceed with the ceasefire, with Israel wanting to extend stage 1 and the latter demanding to move to a new phase intended to bring the conflict to an end. And tensions are escalating once again in Gaza after massive overnight airstrikes. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warned that this is only the beginning. The airstrikes are the largest since a truce was established in January. Israel vowed to continue military pressure until all hostages are released. Netanyahu also urged Palestinians in Gaza to avoid any contact with Hamas and get out of harm's way. He put the blame squarely on Hamas for the present situation. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy on Wednesday said that the United States should monitor a partial Russian-Ukrainian ceasefire on energy infrastructure after Moscow agreed to temporarily pause attacks on Ukrainian energy sites. The Ukrainian president also said he would speak to US President Donald Trump later in the day and that the United States should monitor any potential ceasefire between Ukraine and Russia, focusing on energy facilities.
Today I will have contact with President Trump. We will discuss the details with him today. I think the details of the next step. We really had a very good meeting of our own teams in Jeddah. I think everything went well, if not for Russia, which is always not happy when something goes well.
NASA astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sunita Williams returned to Earth after a 286-day stay in space. The crew returned in a SpaceX capsule on Tuesday with a soft splashdown off Florida's coast, following which NASA held a return to Earth news conference where they informed that the crew is doing great. Wilmore and Williams had launched into space as Starliner's first crew in June for what was expected to be an 8-day test mission. But issues with Starliner's propulsion system led to cascading delays to their return home. Condemning the detention of the mayor of Istanbul, Ekrem İmamoğlu, over a corruption probe, angry protesters gathered near police headquarters on Wednesday. Calling it a coup against democracy, over 100 protesters gathered chanting anti-government slogans. So these are the live visuals that we are showing you of the protest in Turkey. And the mayor is termed as political rival of President Erdogan, and his arrest comes days before he was to be named the party's candidate for the 2028 presidential election. Meanwhile, his wife also condemned the detention in strong words, calling the charges, which includes corruption and aiding a terrorist group, laughable.
One can only laugh at such a thing. Accusations against Ekrem İmamoğlu of links to a criminal and terrorist organization. Such a thing is, of course, impossible. It cannot be. Such a thing cannot be. It is only laughable. There is a lot of wrong information going around. We all follow social media, don't we? For 20 days, a handful of people have messed up social media. They are horrible. Horrible. It is completely a huge slander. Everything will come out in the open anyway.
And cars are playing a major role in an ongoing and increasingly aggressive trade war between the US and the European Union. Lars Holter is with DW in Berlin and has been following this story. He is joining us now. Lars, what are the problems with these American trucks on German roads?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Well, I got a few numbers here that just came out and they shed light on a rather small segment of the global car trade, but a really important one when it comes to latest trade issues. So obviously we've seen large parts of the world and the car markets move towards electric mobility, smaller cars, fewer emissions, but especially in the US, all this has long fallen on deaf ears. So I always found it comical when US President Trump complained about US cars not selling well in Europe. It is actually the main reason he is threatening German car makers with high import tariffs. He often asked, how many American trucks do you see driving in Berlin? He found it unfair that lots of Americans are driving German cars, Mercedes, BMW, Porsche and such, but that at the same time, hardly any Germans are driving US models. Now, here's the thing, much of what sells in the US is just not attractive for customers here. The best example, those giant pickup trucks that are prevalent on American roads, they're not fitting within European road rules and regulations. And they're also gas guzzlers, which looking at German and European gas prices is just not attractive. However, there are a few thousand American pickup trucks indeed driving around here, and that is causing more and more problems as it is.
Okay, Lars, but what's going to happen? Will there be an import stop at some point?
Yeah, that's what more experts are now asking for. As a matter of fact, most cars are imported generally after getting an approval for the entire model and series. They comply with road safety and fuel efficiency standards and can just be imported and sold here. Not those trucks. They are coming in on an individual basis and they're making use of a loophole in EU law. So let's hope this will be fixed soon. Many people are advocating for that. But in the meantime, some politicians have asked for measures to be taken right away, higher taxes based on engine size, higher penalties for parking outside legitimate spots, and so on.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for your inputs. Let's take a look now at other stories making news around the world. In a farm in Lagos, Nigeria, over 10,000 scorpions are being milked for their venom with hopes of profiting from sales in the global market. The venom is used by the pharmaceutical, biotech and cosmetics industries in producing medicines and beauty products. According to local media reports, dust storms swept through the U.S. city of Texas on Tuesday, bringing high winds and significantly reduced visibility. The city was blanketed in a shade of yellow as trees swayed violently. According to Las Vegas Police Department, at least 5 Tesla vehicles were damaged at Las Vegas facility on Tuesday, with 2 fully engulfed in flames. Drone shots also showed graffiti on the doors of the building with the word "resist" spray painted on it. Still to come on this edition of DD India Live. India's Union Cabinet approves incentive scheme for promotion of low-value BHIM UPI person-to-merchant transactions. Surya Kumar Yadav to lead Mumbai Indians in the opening match of the IPL 2025 season against Chennai Super Kings.
This week on Defence Dynamics, India and Bangladesh conduct a strategic naval patrol in the Bay of Bengal amid shifting regional alliances. Has Bongo Saga 2025 strengthened maritime security, or are diplomatic strains still at play? We decode this exercise and its significance. US launches military strikes on Yemen's Houthis. What does this mean for Middle East stability and global trade? India fortifies its high-altitude defences. How will the new vehicle-mounted infantry mortars transform border security? Plus, is the Five Eye Intelligence Alliance on the brink of collapse? A potential shake-up that could redefine global security. Tune in this Wednesday at 8 p.m. IST only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar met with the Moldovan Foreign Minister on Wednesday to discuss the advancement of bilateral and multilateral relations between the two nations. During the meeting, both leaders emphasized the importance of strengthening ties and exploring new avenues for collaboration. As a significant outcome of the discussions, India and Moldova signed a memorandum of understanding on agricultural cooperation, marking a step forward in fostering mutual growth and development in the agricultural sector. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar held a meeting with the Foreign Minister of Liechtenstein on Wednesday to strengthen bilateral and multilateral relations between the two nations. During the discussions, both leaders reviewed the progress of the Trade and Economic Partnership Agreement, highlighting its potential to enhance trade and investment ties. They also deliberated on their cooperation within the United Nations and exchanged views on the ongoing Ukraine situation. And India's EAM, Dr. Jaishankar, engaged in a productive meeting with the Foreign Minister of Georgia on Wednesday, aiming to deepen the ties between the two nations. Both leaders emphasized the importance of leveraging their historical connections and shared values to foster a stronger partnership. And Dr. Jaishankar has said that tariffs and sanctions are being weaponized and countries use them. He was speaking at the 10th edition of Raisina Dialogue in New Delhi. Dr. Jaishankar, along with other speakers, shared his thoughts on the topic Commissars and Capitalists, Politics, Business and New World Order. The panel explored how political decisions are shaping businesses and are being implicated by them. Dr. Jaishankar discussed the ways of how business and geopolitical imperatives are reshaping global trade, finance and digital landscapes.
There are different ways of dealing with weaponization. One is to stay on the right side of the weapon. You don't get hit. The world today makes business decisions, factoring in national security. In the digital era, I think it's not just about cost. It is about comfort. It is about trust. We are involved right now in 3 big trade negotiations with the EU, with the UK, and now with the United States. These are our growth markets. These are our technology partners. I think there are non-economic factors which I think increasingly influence business decisions.
Over 3,500 participants from about 125 countries have joined the dialogue in person. In various sessions, the participants are discussing the state of the world and explore opportunities for cooperation on a wide range of contemporary matters. And in today's session of Destiny or Destination, Culture, Connectivity and Tourism, India's G20 Sherpa Amitabh Kant highlighted that India plays a significant role in job creation and possesses immense potential that is unmatched by any other country.
Be a very, very big driver of job creation. It has a huge multiplier impact in terms of both hard infrastructure, in terms of soft infrastructure. But the fact is that the wealth of heritage, the wealth of the tourism assets which India has, no other country in the world has, and that we need to utilize to its full potential in the days to come. And that can be a very big driver of both growth and job creation for it.
And speaking at the Raisina Dialogue, Congress MP Shashi Tharoor said that Prime Minister Narendra Modi's foreign policy has positioned India as a key diplomatic player, and India has maintained ties with both Ukraine and Russia.
So 3 years later, it does look like I'm the one with egg on my face, because clearly the policy has meant that India has actually a Prime Minister who can hug both the President of Ukraine and the President of Moscow 2 weeks apart. and be accepted in both places. And therefore, India is in a position where it can make a difference to a lasting peace, if it was so required, in ways that very few countries would be able to.
Former Microsoft CEO Bill Gates met with India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi in New Delhi on Wednesday. On social media platform X, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said, and I quote him here, "As always, an excellent meeting with Bill Gates. We spoke about diverse issues including tech, innovation and sustainability towards making a better future for the coming generations." Unquote. And India's Union Cabinet on Wednesday approved incentive scheme for promotion of low-value BHIM UPI person-to-merchant transactions. Addressing the media, Indian Minister Ashwini Vaishnav said that the scheme will be implemented at an estimated outlay of 1,500 crore from April 2024 to March 2025.
नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने 2020-21 से एक स्पेशल स्कीम चलाकर एमडीआर की कॉस्ट न पड़े कस्टमर्स पे वो एक सिस्टम बनाया है। 1,500 करोड़ रुपीस की ये स्कीम है एंड एज पर दिस स्कीम for all transactions which are person to merchant, जो small merchants के payments होंगे up to 2,000 rupees, उसमें कोई transaction की cost नहीं लगेगी और उनको incentive दिया जाएगा।
And Ukraine's Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha, speaking at the Ukraine-India meet in Mumbai, announced that Ukraine is ready to unconditionally advance a ceasefire proposal aiming for a just and lasting peace. The minister highlighted Ukraine's immense potential and underscored India's pivotal role in its future, stating that strengthened bilateral ties could unlock significant opportunities. The event also marked the inauguration of the Consulate General of Ukraine in Mumbai, attended by key dignitaries including Maharashtra Minister Jaikumar Raval.
Historically, Ukraine and India had really close ties. And we are ready to develop our bilateral relations. Your role of India is very important once again in this peace process. And we do really hope to boost our bilateral relations, to open here in such an important center, Mumbai, our general consulate. It is very strong signal. It is also strong confirmation how important India is not only for Ukraine but globally.
Strengthening development partnership in the Indo-Pacific was one of the key themes of the 10th Raisina Dialogue in New Delhi. Foreign Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, Paul Chet-Green, spoke to DD India's Amritpal Singh about the consensus that emerged at the three-day conclave.
What is the sense on cooperation between the Global South, strengthening that, and the way India has taken the leadership of the Global South?
My takeaway from this very important and historic dialogue is that India is certainly committed to the Global South, and that coming out of this conclave, the Global South is stronger, better positioned to deal with the global realities of the moment, and for that I thank India profusely.
When we talk about the bilateral relationship, Excellency, what areas do you think the two countries can cooperate to take the relationship forward?
We are looking at Indian development, your manufacturing sector, your IT sector, even your academia. And we see where India has so much to contribute to the development of Antigua and Barbuda, and might I add, by extension, the Caribbean. And so to help us cope with the issues of climate change, India has developed significant capacities in that regard.
Excellency, many thanks for speaking to DD India. So clearly the focus is on strengthening the development partnership between the Global South and strengthening the partnership from a development perspective, from capacity building perspective, and building infrastructure in the Indo-Pacific. Amritpal Singh for DD India in New Delhi.
And this is the story of a legend who played a crucial role in the integration of Tawang into India. Sharing border with Tibet in China, Tawang has a strategic importance and falls under the northeastern state of Arunachal Pradesh. A memorial event was organized in Delhi to commemorate Major Bob Khathing. DD India's Vishal Baristo reports.
Major Ralignau Khathing, popularly known as Bob Khathing, was an Indian soldier, civil servant and diplomat. During his illustrious lifespan, he was awarded the Military Cross and member of the Order of the British Empire by Queen Elizabeth II. In 1957, he was awarded the Padma Shri. Major Khathing played a key role in asserting India's sovereignty over Tawang. The Defence Minister of India lauded the role of the unsung hero.
मेजर बाब खातिंग केवल नॉर्थ ईस्ट रीजन के ही हीरो नहीं हैं, वे हमारे पूरे राष्ट्र के एक हीरो हैं। भारत अब अपने उन अनसंग हीरोज को वह उचित स्थान दे रहा है जो स्थान उन्हें इतिहास में नहीं मिल पाया।
Major Khathing's expedition to Tawang helped demarcate the McMahon Line that became the de facto border between India and China. The Defence Minister was accompanied by the Chief Minister of Arunachal Pradesh, Pema Khandu, along with Chiefs of Army, Air Force and the family of Major Bob Khathing on the occasion. Vishal Barrister's report, DD India.
And India is taking a bold step towards a climate-resilient future. The Ministry of Environment, Forests and Climate Change, in partnership with Harvard University, is hosting the India 2047 Building a Climate-Resilient Future conference from March 19 to 22nd, 2025 at Bharat Mandapam, New Delhi.
Climate change is no longer a distant threat. It's a reality. The Union Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, in collaboration with the Lakshmi Mittal and Family South Asia Institute and the Salata Institute of Climate and Sustainability at Harvard University, USA, is organizing the conference India 2047, Building a Climate Resilient Future. The conference is bringing together policymakers, academia, civil society and industry leaders.
This gathering marks a defining moment in our collective pursuit of a sustainable future, bringing together some of the brightest minds in climate science, public health, labor, urban planning, and governance.
India has already demonstrated leadership in climate action, from ambitious renewable energy goals to pioneering adaptation strategies.
India has always believed that nature is not just a resource to be used, but also a sacred part of life that must be respected and protected. Our National Action Plan on Climate Change has driven transformative initiatives in renewable energy, energy efficiency, sustainable agriculture, and climate resilience. And these efforts reflect India's holistic approach, one that seamlessly integrates economic growth with our environmental responsibility.
Through plenary sessions, interactive workshops, and cultural engagements, the conference will explore key themes like climate resilient infrastructure, financial mechanisms, and governance strategies. Cross-cutting issues such as gender inclusion, traditional knowledge, and data-driven planning will also take center stage. Tapas Bhattacharya's report for DD India.
India's Minister of State for External Affairs, Pabitra Margarita, today delivered a keynote address at the 10th CII India-LAC conclave in the national capital. The minister highlighted India's willingness to pursue a just and inclusive world order by forging strong partnerships, especially with the Latin American and Caribbean countries.
What we also did leading up to the G20 is bringing people of the world together and make their voice heard on the voice of Global South. India is Global South. You are all Global South. And this combined voice was brought into the agenda of G20, which stands for over 80% of global trade and finances. Friends, presently bilateral trade between India and LAC region is less than $50 billion US. In the last conclave, our External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, had given ourselves a target of $100 billion US bilateral trade by 27-28.
And now some good news for soccer fans in India. An agreement was signed between India's public broadcaster Prasar Bharati and DFB Pokal for telecast of Germany's popular football league matches on various platforms of India's broadcaster. Under this agreement, the two semi-finals and the final match of DFB Pokal League will be telecast live on DD Sports. Live streaming of these matches will be available on Prasar Bharati's OTT platform Waves as well.
Prasar Bharati has always been at the forefront of bringing interesting sports events to our audiences. And today's agreement that we've entered into with the DFB Pokal is another step in the same direction. DFB Pokal is among the largest sports leagues in the world, and soccer, as it is called elsewhere in the world, football, is extremely popular in Germany. The team is a 4-time World Cup champion as well. Both on DD Sports as well as on Prasar Bharati's OTT waves, the audiences will like to watch these wonderful matches. For the people who like to watch soccer, this is an opportunity to watch some wonderful football. And for the upcoming players, the young boys and girls who have interest in soccer, it's an opportunity to really see how football is played at the international level.
And Surya Kumar Yadav will lead Mumbai Indians in the opening match of the Indian Premier League 2025 season against Chennai Super Kings. The move comes after full-time skipper Hardik Pandya will miss the contest due to a one-match ban. Hardik was banned for maintaining a slow over rate in Mumbai's last game of 2024 season against Lucknow Super Giants. Since it was Hardik's third offence of the season, he was fined 30 lakh Indian rupee and handed a one-match ban, which has spilled over into this season's opening game. And along with their duty as soldiers, personnel from 32nd Unit of the Mongolian Armed Forces enthrall audience by their performances. These servicemen are part of a musical band called Legend within their unit, which was formed after a meeting during an art and culture event. Well, that's all for this edition of DD India Live, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek Mahajan from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.